WNL Radio. We need leaders. K.Foxx, Max Pierre. I'm excited about today. Our good friend is on the show. He's already sitting here. He's a visionary. He's an activist, a hip hop legend, a DJ. He's a father, and probably a father to a lot of MCs out here now.
Bars.
Facts.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Talib Kweli. All right, Talib, you're on your phone. What is going? Your phone be getting you in trouble. What's going on right now?
I ordered some food and it'll be here about two minutes. So somebody.
What you order?
I ordered some sushi.
Oh, he orders sushi on.
I did.
This is what he does.
I did.
The most interesting man in the world.
I'm a man on the go. I have to get it in when I can.
Okay. I want to talk about the music first.
But we will. But just if somebody can make sure that
you
when
gotta
the
eat.
Food come, somebody
you got it.
Hold it down when it gets
Because you
here.
need to eat if you drink it.
That's right.
Let's do a toast. Let's toast to real shit.
Let's toast to real shit.
That's how I like to set it off. We gotta look each other in the eyes.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna take a drink.
Kay is very serious about toasts.
He knows. It's true.
You gotta look each other in the eyes.
Because back in the day, that's how they formed trust and alliances were built. Like back in the day, because somebody could poison your drink.
That's right.
And sometimes if you toast and it's spilling over, if my drink goes into yours, and if you're trying to poison, you know what I'm saying. Yeah. Anyway, okay.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
It's true. You like doing research.
Yeah, I do. I'm gonna have to look that one up.
I want to start with.
Sounds right.
It is. I'm telling you, it is. I want to start with the music. I mean, because you are music. This is you are music. You are music personified in my eyes.
That's a heavy compliment. Thank you.
You're welcome. You are.
It's facts.
I want to talk about Black Star and just the name of the album, because I thought it was one of the illest names of any album, period. Does it have anything to do with Marcus Garvey's Black Star, the idea that he wanted to build a ship and send Africans back to Africa?
That's a great question. Sort of. Yassine Bey came up with the name Black Star. And I remember vividly, he was like, yo, we should do a group and we should call it Black Star. And I was like, yo, that's ill, like Marcus Garvey with the Black Star line, that's ill. And he was like, yeah, that too. But I was thinking more celestial. And he started breaking down white dwarf stars and black holes and black stars and just that type of thing. And he was thinking in the stars, for real. And so because our music is absolutely sort of a musical version of what Marcus Garvey was doing, people made that connection and it became that, but I don't think that was his initial intention. And I don't remember, it's on the song. Yeah, at the end of Knowledge Yourself, or maybe we just do it on stage. I don't even remember, but there's a refrain that we say. We take the Black Star line, ride on home. We take the Black Star line, ride on home. We take the Black Star line, ride on home. So we do say that on the album. I think we do say that on the album, but that came after he was talking about the stars.
Okay, so Umi Says and The Blast, and I think that these are anthems in hip hop. I think only because it gave Black people a sense of community. You know what I mean? And it was so eclectic. And it was jazzy, it was hip hop, it was everything. Talk to me about the process and where you guys were with this.
We were standing on the shoulders of our ancestors. And we were young and fresh. We're still fresh, but we're not so young. You know what I'm saying? But we were young and fresh. We were the cutting edge of what was going on in the culture in New York City. Absolutely. The people that I was around at the time. And we were standing on the shoulders.
Who were you around?
Jean Grey, Supernatural, the Bush Babies,
the
natural,
Bush Babies.
You know what I'm saying? Natural
I used to
elements.
roll with them in the Village back in the day.
We were in the Village.
In the
Greenwich Village scene. We were at Unique and Antique Boutique. So if you rolled around the Bush Babies, then you rolled around with me, because we might have came in each other's circle at that time, because I was like an honorary member of Bush Babies at that time.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, the Bush Babies was Lee and Jamal and Mr. Man Khalil. Me and Khalil went to Brooklyn Tech together. And this is I met Yassine Bey, most def, through Khalil.
Okay.
Because Yassine was friends with Khalil first. He's on that Bush Babies album, the second one, Gravity, the love song, and you know, they were just really good friends. And I used to do shows with the Bush Babies at a club called Club Intensities in Sheepshead Bay when I was a child. And you know, when the Bush Babies came out and started blowing up, the whole team, we felt like that was us. Because it was Flatbush and it's us and it's like, my friends are on TV. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm at all the video shoots. I didn't make the cut. But
You're like, oh, I got edited out.
yeah, but I
had a cameo.
You know what I'm saying? I got one of those
Support.
early cameos. Like, I was next to that guy.
Yeah.
That's my arm right there. You know, but that was my crew, and we were the cutting edge. And what was popular at the time, though, was for us to talk about what came before us. So that's why we sampled. I think that.
Wait, is the food's here?
Yeah.
Bash you with a check on the food?
Yeah.
He's serious.
We
about that.
Yeah, I am. We sampled Boogie Down Productions, and we did B-Boys and B-Boys, and you know, all the Black Star album. If you listen to the lyrics, was about paying tribute to what came before us. Definitely.
Yeah, I want to talk about. Did you want to ask something?
No, I'm riding, baby.
So one of the illest concert docs to me was the Black Party with you
Yes.
and Dave Chappelle and I mean Jill Scott, Erica Badu. I mean,
Classic.
just the concept. Didn't he like transport people from where he's from to Brooklyn?
He did.
Talk to me about when he talk to me about the process. What happened?
Dave Chappelle is a revolutionary.
Yes.
He's one of the most important people in our culture, and he's one of the most genuine and compassionate people I know. And glad you brought that up because there's news in this cycle right now about Dave Chappelle. The headline is clickbait. They say Dave Chappelle opposes affordable housing in his hometown of
Why would he do
Yeah.
that?
Yellow Springs. Exactly. See, what you just said is why anyone who claims to care about the culture should be ashamed of themselves if they fell for that clickbait. Yes, Dave Chappelle is a very wealthy man. Yes, Dave Chappelle is in the 1%. Absolutely. But just because he's in the 1% doesn't mean that he lacks humanity. And when you see a headline like Dave Chappelle opposes affordable housing, when you think about who Dave Chappelle is, you have to think of like, why would Dave Chappelle
Nah,
do
this
that?
shit don't make sense.
Yeah.
It don't make sense. What it is that, well, you know what? I'm not from Yellow Springs. I spent a lot of time there, so I don't want to Yellow Springs explain the situation.
Say that 3 times.
Yellow Springs explain.
Yellow Springs.
I don't want to Yellow Springs explain.
Okay.
I'd rather let the people from the town, the good people of Yellow Springs, explain why they support Dave Chappelle and his campaign against the people who are attempting to build homes that are not quite affordable housing by what we think affordable housing is, and are built right directly in his backyard, so that people will now be able to just have access to Dave Chappelle's property where his family lives.
How does a rumor like that even start?
Because it's Ohio. Yellow Springs is a very hippie town, but it's still Ohio, and it's still run by rich white people. And Dave Chappelle is the black man with new money. His father is from that town. His father started movements in that town. Dave Chappelle has roots in that town. But he still gets pushed back. But I said all that to bring it back to what you said, which is what Dave Chappelle has always been putting Yellow Springs on the map. We know about Yellow Springs because of Block Party. We know about Yellow Springs because of the jam sessions. There's a movie that he's been showing around at theaters, at venues, where during the pandemic, Dave Chappelle was throwing concerts in Yellow Springs that I performed at several times. And I'm talking about not just like, I'm talking about like me, Erica Badu, Toby and Gwegwe, Jon Stewart, Trevor Noah, Kevin Hart. Name a comedian. Bob Saget, rest in peace. Name a comedian that has been successful in the last 20 years, and he likely was in Yellow Springs, Ohio, doing shows for those people.
He kept that creativity going during the pandemic.
Absolutely, and
Which
Dave
is
Chappelle has
amazing.
invested in the downtown Yellow Springs. He's building a theater there. He's building all types of infrastructure there, and it's really a shame to see his name dragged in the way that they're trying to drag him, as if he's some sort of enemy to the people.
But he's contributed to hip hop and the culture so much.
Yeah, brought the band from Dayton.
Yeah.
He was in Dayton at that time, when there's a band from Dayton. But
Okay.
Dayton is like a half hour from Yellow Springs. Brought the band from Dayton to New York to do the block party.
I wish I was there. Like when you watch that documentary, you're like, where was I? What the fuck was I doing that I did not know about?
Well, it was secret. It was secret.
That's what I'm saying.
So I'm proud to say that as far as performances, because of where I was at in my career and my records and my relationship to Dave and my relationship to the Roots and Yassine and Kanye and Common at that time, I am performing the most in that documentary. I have the most performances on Chappelle's show. So I feel like I owe this man a debt for my career. But when it happened, nobody knew. I didn't know. The morning of, I didn't know. It was a text or email, which was kind of new at that time. It was like 2004. But something went out where it was like, this is where the show's at. And then
But you knew you were performing?
I knew I was performing, but they
Okay.
had to keep the location secret.
Okay.
And what they did was they set up like, they document this a little bit in the film, but there's like points where people could meet to get on a bus. So you had to know, excuse me, they told people where to go to get on a bus, but they didn't tell them where the bus was taking them to. Because they didn't want too many people. It was like, it's really, they were in the hood. They were in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Like old
They
crack
trusted
dens,
him. They
all that.
trusted him. Where we getting on? I don't know where we going. We just rolling.
Yes, they didn't know who was going to perform,
Yeah.
nothing. If you watch the documentary, you see a young J. Cole in the audience. You
Oh,
see
wow.
it. Watch the documentary and look at when I'm performing Get By or maybe Definition, and you see J. Cole in the front row like this, and he's
Wow.
like in his 20s.
Yeah, I gotta go back and
Yeah, you
check
gotta go
that
back
out,
and
yeah.
watch that. That's such a dope moment in hip hop. Is that where your relationship with Dave started, or when it?
My relationship with Dave started when I was working at Akiru Books in 1996. There was a girl that I was dating that Dave used to date, and she broke up with me to get back with Dave.
So wait, you were the side dude, or was he? Wait,
I think I was the side.
You were the side
We were
dude.
both the side
You
dudes.
was a
'cause
temporary
She
dude.
broke up with Dave and got together with another comedian.
oh, so she was just in the street.
She's a boss. She's a boss.
She was moving like it.
She's gonna see this too. You're a boss. I learned a lot from that woman. You know, but I met him in her hallway. That's how much of a boss she was. Like, there was some overlap there. Mm-hmm. And then
Oh wait, so she had just finished dealing with.
it was some overlap.
Okay.
So then, and then a couple of years later, I was in Ohio at a De La Soul show. And Dave was there because he lives in Ohio. And I brought that story up to him. I said, and he was like, oh. And then we became friends. And then we knew each other. So then it was like, now we have name and face recognition. Yeah. Then a couple of years after that, I'm working on Reflection Eternal year 2000 in Electric Lady. And I come outside to go to Fat Beats to buy some vinyl. And I see Dave and his girlfriend at the time, Elaine, who's now his wife. They were walking down the street. I was like, Dave Chappelle. Oh shit, it's me, Talib Kweli. He's like, yeah, okay, you're the guy from Black Star, because Black Star was out.
Okay.
He's like, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, me and Hot Tech are working on an album upstairs in Electric Lady right now. And Dave Chappelle had never seen an album being made. So he came, he said, I'm gonna drop, he took Elaine, wherever he took Elaine to, and he came to be with us. And he was in almost every session that we were in Electric Lady. So that's why he's on the Reflection Eternal album doing all the skits. That's him doing Nelson Mandela. That's him doing, he did all the skits except for Lennox Lewis and Gil Scott-Heron. Those were real. He says that's the day that's the time he met Common and Questlove and D'Angelo. We were all working in that building.
Oof.
So that's how we all came together. That was the year 2000.
So, Dave Chappelle is one of the only celebrities and comedians that has been able to beat cancel culture.
Yeah, when I flew here, they had Fox News on the airport. And they were doing a whole Fox News story about how you can't cancel Dave Chappelle, and I was like, that's not quite the look I wanted for my brother.
Right?
But,
Nobody wants, but they.
I don't want Fox News to be excited about Dave Chappelle. But hey, but that's how good his comedy is.
Yes.
Dave Chappelle is absolutely an anti-racist. He's an anti-bigot. He's pro-black, but he's so good at his craft that racists still find what he does amazing, and they still laugh at it or with it.
Well, talk to me about that time when all that was going on, because wasn't he still? He was still performing during this, right? Through the drama and the controversy, when people were trying to cancel him, y'all was still performing and still being creative.
You talking about recently?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dave Chappelle.
It wasn't like he went dark.
This is what Dave.
You know what I'm saying? Like he used all of that.
This is what they forget about Dave. You can't cancel someone who is not even on the network. Mm-hmm. You can't kill something that's already dead. Dave Chappelle walked away from $50 million over 10 years ago. You can't cancel someone who walks away from $50 million. You can only cancel people who need the industry. Dave Chappelle walked away from $50 million, got on the road, started outperforming every comedian on the road, doing 200 shows a year, to the point where he was already GOAT status, but now he's cemented GOAT status, because now he's like, all the greats knew about him, but now after Chappelle's show, the world knows about him. Then after Chappelle's show, you go back to those small comedy clubs, you go back to the Cellar, to the Punchline, to the Comedy Store. Other comedians is like, I can only do stadiums, or I can't do the small rooms. Dave Chappelle went back to the small rooms. He went back to what he calls his real boss. And because of, his name became so popular in the stand-up world, Netflix offered him $60 million for several specials. So you walk away from $50 million, 10 years later, you get $60 million.
What did which comedian said that he freed the slaves?
Damon Wayans.
Damon Wayans. He said he freed the slaves.
He talked about that one special. He said with that one with the closure, they freed the slaves.
Now, you are going down in the history books, Kweli, with Donald Trump, Azealia Banks, some other people. You have been suspended from Twitter.
Yes.
You are banned. Is this for life?
Louis Farrakhan.
Farrakhan.
Don't just say Azealia Banks and Trump now. Also Louis Farrakhan.
Okay, I gotta give you props too. And Louis Farrakhan. Is this for life?
Yes, it's for the life of my IP. If I was pressed and thirsty, I could get on Twitter from another IP. In terms of participating, the internet is undefeated, so I can go look at Twitter. I can go see what people are saying. I just can't
chime in.
Tweet.
Your Twitter fingers are burning, are they?
No, because people follow me from Twitter to Instagram anyway, so I can just talk to them on Instagram. So and then, it's good. It was good. It was time. I did 10 strong years on Twitter.
10 strong years.
Yo,
10 strong years.
I literally had a conversation with him about I want to do an art exhibition and just display his
tweets.
You can't because Twitter owns everyone's tweets. And so when they suspend you, the only way for me to get that. I did not know that they owned
our tweets, but it's our intellectual property.
Nope.
How do they own that?
Read the TOS again.
Woo! How do they own our intellectual property?
Because you signed the TOS to use Twitter.
And we never read it.
No,
we never read the fine print.
It says we own all this shit. You know that, right? That's what it says.
Basically.
What those TOSs say essentially is, look, this our house. You ain't got no rights. We can do whatever the fuck we want. We can kick you off for whatever reason. You can't bully. You can't use language that we deem appropriate, and you don't get to decide whether or not you deem it appropriate or not. We get to decide, and we don't have to answer to you.
So what's the real reason in your eyes that they were able to kick you off?
Oh, I know very clearly. They emailed me and told me. It's very clear. Twitter. I used to have a relationship with Twitter. I used to speak to Jack in the DMs. Twitter used to work with me. They used to call me and talk to me because I've been trolled early. I was getting harassed early. Yeah. The rules and regulations of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, on the surface, I agree with them. I support them. But because you have human beings that don't understand racism and the difference between racism and prejudice and certain dog whistles and stuff, things fall through the cracks and things are unfair. And because we have, it's all money-based, they want to keep the people who are engaging the most. And the people who are engaging the most on this platform are white supremacist trolls and bots and stuff like that. That's the people who engage the most. Mm-hmm. So they're going out of their way. Reports have come out where Facebook has got in trouble for protecting this, where black people or people of color are getting more punitive stuff, more punished, more kicked on more. And that's absolutely true. Yeah. That's absolutely true because these white supremacist trolls and these bots, they go on these smear campaigns. They're reporting every single thing. And I'm somebody who was targeted by these groups. So early in my Twitter career.
I'm like, Twitter career?
Early in my Twitter time, there was communication and collaboration between me and Twitter to protect my account and to make sure that things happen. I got suspended once years ago, which they were wrong about because I didn't do anything wrong. And they put my account back, which is very rare. They don't do that. So it's possible for them to do it, but it's very rare.
But this time when you got suspended, were you like, what the, like?
Well, no. So this time was, the second time I got suspended, it was after a lot of warnings. You understand what I'm saying? Like I used to call people coons on Twitter.
But were they coons?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I felt like if I'm black, I could say it. But Twitter doesn't agree. And because it's their house, I had to respect it. There was a whole meeting we had where they were like, you gotta stop calling people coons. Basically, they was like, because I was like, I kept getting flagged. I was like, why get flagged? They was like, you keep calling people coons. I was like, I'm black, I can say it.
And if they're a coon?
And
these is
coons. That's what I'm saying. And they coons. And Twitter was like, I'll never forget, it was a black gay guy who worked at Twitter. I don't remember his name. He was like, listen, I get what you're saying. He said, me and my friends might call each other fag. Just, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I could say it because I'm gay, but if I were to write it on Twitter, I can't do that.
Wrong.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay. So I gave him that one. I stopped calling people coons. You know what I'm saying? Okay, cool. Because I was like, either keep calling people coons or get kicked off Twitter.
Who did you call a coon? Can you?
A bunch of people.
Well, you already
Larry
know.
Elders, random, you know what I'm saying? Random niggas, like just a bunch of coons.
Clown ass coon.
And so now because I'm targeted by the white supremacist and they can't kick me off, right? Because I'm good at insulting people without being bigoted. Mm-hmm. You get in arguments with people and they're quick to be like, you a little bitch, or they're quick to do something, say something sexist to try to bring, or say something anti-gay, or say something anti-black to try to bring you down. And I never did that.
Yeah.
And so they started inventing wild stories. The wildest was, the first one was he's short, like Talib Kweli is short, and that became a meme in the Nazi community. Because they're obsessed with like, it's weird. That's a whole different chapter.
Yeah.
The next one was Talib Kweli raped and assaulted a 14-year-old girl.
That's a serious accusation.
It was Turtle Boy Sports out of Massachusetts made that accusation because he was trolling me. And as I do, if somebody's trolling me and you have an account where you can, this is where they hide their identity. If I can see your identity and you're trolling me, before I respond, I look you up. So this guy was trolling me. I looked him up and he had been accused of harassing women in his local town. So before I responded, that's the first thing I said, ain't you the dude that was accused? And his response was to create a very realistic looking newspaper article that said that I raped 14-year-old girls.
So there was a whole
It was a whole article. Yeah, it was a whole fake article. And his point was, anyone can make up any rumor about anybody. So let me make up this rumor about you since you want to bring up these rumors about me. But the problem is that people don't do their research and don't check and don't vet. And so I actually sued, there was a lawsuit, there was a cease and desist, and he lost his Twitter account, he lost his Facebook account behind this, and he stopped saying these things. So I didn't pursue the lawsuit, but it was definitely papers involved. Years later, I got into an argument with a young lady, which I think is a young lady, I'm still not sure, because I still don't even know if this person exists, because I tried to sue them and I couldn't even find them, but that's a whole nother thing. She was accusing me of being a colorist, and she was...
Can you break down what a colorist
What's a
is?
colorist?
Colorist is somebody who, we have them in our community, you know, light skin versus dark skin, those are colorist issues in the black community. Mm-hmm. There was a tweet that was said that no rappers are married to black women. And I, at one point, was married to a black woman, and my name was mentioned in the response to the tweet. Well, here's several rappers who were married to a black woman. And this young lady, somebody who used to follow me, and she got suspended for Twitter, got a new account. She was like, yeah, but all of those women are light-skinned. And I didn't like that because while I wasn't with my wife, I still felt like you're erasing her blackness by saying because she's light-skinned, she's not black enough. And who are you to be talking on anybody's marriages and relationships anyway? And to be fair, I took it personal, which probably was a mistake, but I did. I took it personal because I was like, my name is involved in it. You're talking about me and my relationship with this woman that I'm not even in a relationship anymore, but still, why you talk about that at all? And you talk about my brothers and their wives, which make them my sisters. So I said something, and I said, because she wrote, that's a different subject to talk about another time. And I wrote, well, no, let's talk about it. Why are you talking about these people's relationships? And we started arguing.
But sometimes when you do that with these Twitter trolls, Instagram trolls, you give them more power because all they want is attention. No matter if it's negative or not.
So this is why I feel like maybe with that situation it's a little different because my whole thing is I have no problem. Matter of fact, I advocate for giving racists attention. Every racist should be famous.
Yeah, because you be posting what they say
That's
on
right.
your Instagram.
That's right.
Because this is what he said to me
because we don't
at
have
this
the
time
luxury,
on this date.
We don't have the luxury of not knowing how they feel, what they think, and what they say. It helps marginalized people when we know how they move and when we can recognize them and see them coming. So my whole thing is, if we see a racist, all of us should shame him. Make him famous. He should be famous for being a racist. And people who clout chase him and they worship fame, so they think fame is a virtue. They think famous automatically means good person. No, it doesn't. Every racist should be famous. As someone who's been famous for most of my life, I'm here to tell you, fame is not a virtue. You know what I'm saying? Fame could be used for good or it could be used for bad. But in terms of this, assuming that this young lady is actually a black woman, I can't approach her the same way that I approach the racist trolls. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that was my mistake, arguing with this black woman, but the reason why I felt the need to argue with her is because she was attacking black women in the name of standing up for black women. And I just thought that was really hypocritical.
It's an oxymoron is what it is.
You know what I'm saying? And the first thing she did at day one, people talk about how the fact that our argument lasted 2 weeks, because it did. I mean, Kweli was responding to this woman 2 weeks. Well, for me to respond to someone for 2 weeks, you have to be saying something for me to respond to. They made it like I was the only one I absolutely participated in it. But so did her and a lot of racists, a lot of other people. The first day, though, she started attacking EQ, who's my ex-wife, who's a great DJ, great person, started attacking her. People didn't know that me and EQ weren't together. This wasn't public knowledge at the time. It is now, but it wasn't public at the time. I had a baby on the way with the woman I was with at the time. This woman, Maya Moody, she changed her profile pic to the picture of my baby mom's pic. And then started tagging
That's
EQ,
crazy.
talking about this, he's having a side baby on you. So now you calling my new child, black child, a side baby. And you're attacking, you've changed your profile pic to my baby mother's pic, and you're attacking my ex-wife. How are you standing up for black women? And so that was my issue. And because the whole vibe at the time was you got to protect black women, people weren't hearing what I was saying. And because people were already dismissive of me anyway. He argues all the time anyway. He's just arguing, that's him just arguing it. So then Halle Berry retweeted her tweets, and No Name retweeted her tweets, and it became.
But did
Talib
Halle
Kweli's
Berry
harassing-
understand what
No.
happened before?
She probably just saw that this woman is very good at using Twitter. She's probably better than I am, which is why she's still on Twitter and I'm not. You know what I'm saying? But she got a lot of people supportive. Like every time she tweeted about me, it would get 5,000-6,000 retweets. It would go like Twitter viral. And so people started weighing in. Like it became a thing. And I am stubborn, and I just would not stop letting people slander my name. I just would not. If I saw somebody slander my name, I would say something. You know. And then what I would do. This is the real reason why they said I harassed her, because anytime someone, and they were coming by the hundreds every day, hundreds.
Who's they?
Random, because she was empowering the rape. What she did was she said, well, you know, Talib Kweli has a history of raping 14-year-old girls because she got that from that white boy. So now you're telling racist lies about me and attacking the women in my life in the name of protecting black women. And it was something that bothered me. But anytime somebody came to me with it, what I would do is I would tag her in my response, because you are responsible for this happening. Now, this is something I've been doing on Twitter for 10 years. Anytime someone started shit with me and a bunch of trolls came behind that, anytime I respond, I tag the person to let them know how it feels. Oh, you think it's okay to be trolling people? Well, watch this.
You're gonna be in this too.
You want to be in it? Let's get in it. Now, every time I respond, I'm tagging you. This drove this person crazy. So she's now like, he's tagging me and everything. Yeah, that's the consequence. You know what I'm saying? All of this was happening, and they were reporting me all the time, but what I was doing wasn't violating the TOS, because I'm not calling nobody out their name, I'm not being bigoted, but here's where I lost my cool. They were falsely accusing me of doxing this woman. I don't support doxing. Posting people's private information.
What is doxing?
That's posting people's private information. People were, because she had gone into my baby mom's Facebook account, my baby mom wasn't even on Twitter. She went to my baby mom's Facebook account to get a picture of my baby. So someone did that to her and got a picture of her mom. You know what I'm saying? It was like making fun of her mom. So she was like, he's doxing me. No, those are from your Facebook account. No one you posted those on the internet. You did the same thing to me. Why was it okay for you to do to me? But it was protect black women. You know what I'm saying? And so she started saying she was getting doxxed. When that started to happen, I started to actually get doxxed. Supporters of her were posting my mother's address, my address where EQ lives, on the internet, my phone numbers. I have 3-4 different numbers. All of them were posted on the internet at this time. When my phone number started getting posted on the internet, I started getting phone calls. People were like, death threats, you're gonna die. When I see you on site, I'm gonna fuck you up. I started getting text messages, I'm gonna rape your mother, I'm gonna rape your daughter, all types of shit. And I don't think it's black people doing this. These are racist trolls who are weaponizing this situation against me. You know what I'm saying? And so what I did was I posted a screenshot of one of these messages, but I neglected to erase the phone number that it came from. And Twitter is very serious about you cannot post people's phone numbers. Now, the reason it was a burner phone number. I already did my homework. I already researched. I tried to find this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Richard, give me your address.
Yeah, I tried to find it. And if I found this is a burner phone. It's not a real phone number.
Yeah.
So I didn't think it was against the violence. I was wrong about that. I thought I could but it was me being emotional. It was me being upset that someone was threatening my mother and my daughter.
You went into protective mode.
Jeopardy,
Yeah, and so I felt like I need to put this on blast. I need to let people know what I'm going through. When I did that, I posted that tweet. Twitter hit me, they emailed me, they said people report you all day long. We're getting all these reports about you, and they're claiming you're harassing this person. You haven't violated any rules, so we can't kick you off for that. But you posted his phone number. We have to kick you off. You've left us no choice.
But for life though, like
Suspension. It's their house, bro. Like if someone comes to my house and says take off your shoes, I'm like, nah, fuck that, fuck your couch. They have the right to kick me out. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it.
that's true. I want to get back to the music for a second, and
Before you do,
okay,
the end of that story is that young lady ended up raising $20,000 on GoFundMe. She said Talib Kweli,
the woman that was on Twitter.
yeah,
Okay.
Maya Moody. She said Talib Kweli is harassing me, and I need money for college. I need a new car. Car's not working, and y'all need to give me this money because Talib Kweli is harassing me. And all those people reposted. She raised $20,000, right?
How is she still invisible then? Like how? Like
Hey man, I hired people, investigators and all that to try to find, because I wanted to sue her because I'm like, that's my money. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my money because you gonna sue me because we had a Twitter argument? But she then, a year later, was on Twitter complaining, my lawyer says that I don't have a case. My lawyer said that I can't sue him. And so I'm like, so you dummies gave this woman $20,000 for a case that she never had, if she even exists.
She took the money and run.
Good for her.
Took the money
She's a
and ran.
hustler. I guess I got to applaud. Get your money.
You were
Maya
part of
Moody.
the Ponzi scheme. That's what happened.
damn.
But yeah,
Idol
back to the
worship.
music.
Idol worship.
Oh wow, that's not even back to the music. That's a whole different
But it still
chamber
had
of drama.
No, because it's embedded in the music. You
Okay.
were friends with this person. Reese, she made one of my favorite albums. How I Do, one of my favorite.
One of my favorite albums as well.
You know what I'm saying? And you guys are friends, and you guys made this album, Idol
Yeah.
Worship, and you called it your party album.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is your party album.
yeah.
But what happened with that whole situation with you and Reese behind the scenes, and why it never, I guess, took off?
That was a very good way to ask that question.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you. Reese, I considered my best friend at one point, and years ago, she was in a deal that she didn't like. We were managed by the same person, our friend Corey Smith. And Reese got angry at Corey and didn't like how he was managing her and fired him, or he left. I don't remember how it happened. But Reese and me still remained friends, and she was around me all the time. She wasn't making a lot of money, and she was very frustrated with where her career was at. So I was like, let's start a group, the Idol Worship, because I wanted to break out of the conscious MC box. And I was like, if I do this group...
Why did you want to break out of that box?
Because as an artist, you want to grow. And as an artist, you never want to be confined. I'm more comfortable in my skin now. Now I don't feel the need to do that. I can do it when I want to. Like DJing helps.
Yeah.
You know, I could play records I like and then go back to but I needed that. I wasn't DJing. I needed some sort of outlet other than being an underground rapper.
Yeah.
And Idol Worship provided that for me, and it's a fun project. Me and Reese, we made that album and we started touring it. It was the first album available on Spotify before it was available on iTunes. Had a really good time, and this was somebody who I really was, she was never my employee. She was just my friend.
Yeah.
We ended up going on a workcation at some point, because I used to take my whole team down to Jamaica or Puerto Rico, and me and Reese were in a hot tub together at one point, and I leaned in. I shot my shot. I leaned in, went for the kiss, because I was liking her. We were in close proximity, and I was liking her, and we were really good friends. And I think I was
Before that,
yeah. I think I was mistaking the friendship vibe for I think she's feeling me. And she was like, and I was like,
So
and
you leaned in and she leaned back?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we never spoke about it. We remained friends. We continued doing Idol Worship. Years later, she ended up signing to Javoti. I put out her album, Refied Mac. And me and Max did a show.
We did a crazy show.
Yeah, was Refied Mac at that point?
No, nah.
What do you mean y'all did a show? You brought them down?
Yeah, we did a performance at the Adrian Arts Center.
Yeah, it was really nice.
So eclectic.
It wasn't a full orchestra, but we did.
It was nice.
It was 12 piece.
But that whole
Super
trying to kiss her while in the hot tub, we had been in so many situations as friends that that was not on my mind at all.
Yeah.
And we continued to work and do business together.
Yo, when I heard about this shit, and I was like, shit was.
So you
weird.
heard about it in real time?
Not like I saw it on social media.
Oh, okay.
And then I was like, yo, what the fuck is that? Because I had the opportunity to hang out with them, like we, you know what I mean? Like
after this accusation.
Yeah, all that shit. So it was just like, yo, where is this coming from? What's going on with this?
So Reese would act a little bit like a diva. And she was hard to work with while she was signed to Javoti. And I was investing all this money.
I want to know what your perspective of diva is, because sometimes women, because you demand certain things, you can be casted as a diva only for demanding or standing up for yourself.
No, that's a good question.
So how is she?
So I would book shows and she would not show up for the shows.
Okay.
I would book flights and she would not get on the flight.
Okay. You need some more ice?
But all that was okay. I'm good.
You good?
All that, like missing shows, all that, because I understand the artist's mind, right? Artists don't have to be professional. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't.
You'd be like, I'm here. What's up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't that. It was the disrespect of my employees. The way in which she talked to the people who work for me was unacceptable at a certain point. And so because I consider her my friend, I was like, listen, I no longer want to put your album out. In my mind, I'm like, so we can remain friends because I can't deal with how you talking to my people. You know what I'm saying? And she was talking to my people as if they would have, like, we would have arguments about, y'all need to handle, y'all don't label this and that, and this. And I'm like, Reese, I've been supporting you financially through shows, through albums for years now. My label is me and Donna sitting at the kitchen table. Like, you know what it is. We're not Def Jam. It's not Universal over here. You know, we're all in this together. And she was talking to us very disrespectfully. And so I cut ties with her on the music. And then a few months after that, I saw her doing a GoFundMe for the album that I had paid for. Right? Now, I didn't want the album back. I wasn't asking for no money back. I just like, cut ties, do what you're gonna do. Matter of fact, the GoFundMe would have been dope had she not been giving out a song that I did with her as a prize for like giving her money, which I had a problem with because I'm like, yo, I don't fuck with you. And so now you're giving out art that I recorded for you for free and you're making money on it when you owe me money, technically. Money that I'm not even coming to collect. Now you're taking advantage of me. Now you just shitting on me. And so I gave her the leeway a few months. I told her it was wrong. You gotta stop doing that. She didn't stop doing it. So I sued her. My case is airtight. Because my case is so airtight, she told the judge he sexually harassed me.
Well, because of the hot tub thing.
Because of the kiss attempt. And so what the judge told her, the judge Carolyn Wade, y'all could look it up. She said this case is not, the countersuit is not sufficiently pled because you're not his employee, so you can't say him trying to kiss you in a hot tub is sexual harassment, workplace sexual harassment. And so just even having these conversations is difficult and ugly because we were friends, you know, and, you know, she never accepted the fact that she couldn't win in that situation. And so after a year of her trying to still get the court to take her seriously, she took it to Twitter. And she started tagging the Shade Room and tagging, you know, all these people. And so, yeah, that was a difficult time in my life, but it did stop what I was doing because I didn't do what I was being accused of. I have male privilege. Because I have male privilege, it was annoying, it was frustrating, but the fact is that women, the data says that when women make these accusations, they're not lying. I think the number is over 90%. It's like they're telling the truth. So it's hard for me to see myself as a victim in this. Or I'm definitely a victim of a lie, and I'm definitely a victim of someone trying to take advantage of me. But it's hard for me to speak on it and present myself that way. Because in this space, it's women who are overwhelmingly the victims.
Yeah. You know so you wouldn't know what it would feel like in order to be in that other person's shoes.
It's like, it's not really, those accusations didn't slow me down at that time, but those accusations did get weaponized when the Maya Moody shit happened, because now they're like, oh, the Turtle Boy thing, he raped this 14-year-old girl. Oh, Reese said he's accused of sexual
harassment.
harassment.
Now it's stacks on stacks on stacks of different situations.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Kanye West doc. Genius. And it couldn't have been a better time.
Oh wait, I gotta add that with that GoFundMe for the album that Reese was she raised like $40,000.
Okay.
She never gave her fans that album.
With the $40,000 that she was raising for the album.
So, just like Maya Moody, she kept that money. So, slander on my name has become a cottage industry on Twitter. That's what's happening.
And you can't even respond because you're not on Twitter no more.
That's right.
He's like, oh.
I'm in real life.
He's like that meme with the hands.
Real life?
The Arthur meme?
Yeah.
No, that's not me. My hands is bigger than that.
He's like, yeah, but it couldn't have been more perfect timing. Because I was coming out to LA to do your podcast, and I was like, you gotta watch this documentary. You gotta watch it. You are all through that, the first part of The Genius. Yeah. And it really showed Kanye in a more vulnerable light, I think.
I agree.
You know, I think it's a well done doc because it's
not
told.
Cootie, he did a
it's not told through Kanye's eyes. It's told through his boy's eyes. So
it's
can
amazing.
You talk about that? And
I mean, I remember Cootie being around back then. I did not know that Cootie was a comedian until I watched the doc. I didn't know that Cootie. I knew that when he said he picked up a camera, I knew cameraman Cootie, director Cootie. Man, I cannot praise that man enough for what he did because we all know about Kanye's vision because it became global. But for him to have the vision to be like, no, I need to document this as a filmmaker, that's just, his shots, he knew. It's like Jay-Z talks about the confidence in knowing. You have to know that you the shit, and you have to know that what you're doing is valuable before the world does. Mm-hmm. And that's what Cootie did. He understood that what he was doing was valuable before the world did, and we're all better for it.
Well, you mentioned Jay-Z just now, and I mean, where's my, I need to get this right. Hold on a second. Moment of truth. Truth be told, I'd probably be Talib Kweli. It happened a while ago, mm-hmm. But when he's on, let's keep it real. Jay-Z's on a lot of people's top 5 MCs, and then he's giving you this and what he really wants to do lyrically, but because he's stuck in a certain way, he can't. What was that like for you mentally?
I felt like I was in the right place at the right time, and Jay-Z's a hero of mine. Mm-hmm. When you look at Jay-Z now, when you listen to 444, and we look at his dreadlocks and how he's dressing, and
he's Basquiat.
He looks like
Basquiat.
It's Basquiat dreads, but I had those type of dreads when I was in high school. Mm-hmm. He looks like me in high school. Mm. He sounds like me in high school, like in terms of his subject matter. Mm-hmm. And so I have a theory that every gangster street rapper that makes it past 40 turns conscious. That's just what it is. Yeah. Jay-Z just happened to be the best at it. Mm-hmm, That's what I think.
So let's get back to Genius. All through the doc shows you rocking with Kanye, early Kanye, when nobody knew Kanye, when he's trying to get a deal Kanye, you know what I'm saying? And fast forward to Drink Champs, Wake Up Sonori, and when Kanye, he's ready to talk and, he's in his bag.
And they plying him with liquor?
And he was smoking too.
That
he
shit
smoked
ain't
too.
Fuck that. That ain't no excuse.
Liquor loosens the tongue, man.
It does.
It makes you say what you really mean.
And then he said, he was like, basically, who would you pick, Talib or Common?
Yeah. And
he went with Common. I thought it was a Chi-Town
thing.
He
didn't just go with Common. It was the way in which he went with Common.
Yeah, that shit was
He said Common is 1,000 times better than me. Now, Common is my OG. Mm-hmm. Common I spent many years as my favorite MC. Common, if you ask me, as an MC, I feel like I'm better than everybody.
You should.
Right?
That's what MCs do.
But I would never say I'm better than Common. Like this is common sense from the city of Chicago. This is Lonnie Lynn. This is fucking Cornbread Calm. This is Rashid.
I used to love her.
This is Common. For someone to be like Common is better than Talib Kweli, that's not a diss. Not a diss. That's a subjective opinion that you could make a case for. Like if you know the music, you could make a case for that, and I'd have to respect that case. Whether or not I agree with it, you could make a strong case for that. Very strong case. Common is 1,000 times. Ain't no nigga 1,000 times better. Come on, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Come on. Now you're being disrespectful.
Yo, listen. Shit was disrespectful. Look.
Now you're being disrespectful. That was just that was one of the many disrespectful things he said in a very short period of time, but that was one of them.
Shit is disrespectful. I felt the fucking way. I ain't gonna lie. I'm watching this shit. I'm like, and I already was like, I love him from I got my issues with him in the sense that like, I really feel like at the end of the day, like decency trumps everything, and that dude, there's like a lack of decency.
I don't know if that would be my issue with him because I feel like we were okay with the lack of decency when he was saying things we agreed with. You know what I'm saying? Because he's never been decent. He's never been regular.
I wasn't.
Okay, that's okay.
I wasn't.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? Like that's one thing I don't do. I'm not giving nobody no fucking pass. Mm-hmm. I don't give my son a pass. I don't give my daughters a pass. I'm not grown ass men. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not, because you're a celebrity, you're not getting no fucking pass from me. Not for me at least. So like, no, not for me.
But within the documentary, it showed how much you had his back before anybody knew Kanye. You brought him out during your show at Urban Plaza. He, you know what I'm saying? Like you opened the door for him and made a lot of connections for him back in the day before he's Kanye. You know what I mean? So when you saw that,
well, this is what I learned watching the documentary. And like when Kanye, look, we grown, right?
yeah.
When Kanye said what he said, first Nori hit me and gave me a little bit of heads up. Just so you know,
Some slick shit.
the man says some things that I don't want it to surprise you, to be on guard. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Nori for giving me the heads up. But I couldn't imagine that that's what he was gonna say. Nori was just like basically he said some wild shit. So I was like, oh, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, send me a link. That's dope. And Nori's like, okay.
You know, I was watching about you.
Yeah, okay. He said, yeah, Nori was like, no, he said some wild shit about you. He's like, okay, yeah, that's dope. I just seen the nigga a month ago. He didn't say nothing crazy, so. And Nori checked him on that.
Yeah.
And Nori said, yo, you just seen him a month ago.
Yeah.
And Kanye said, oh, I gotta fight this nigga now. Which was funny. You know what I'm saying? Because yes, you did see me a month ago.
Yeah.
And we said, oh, I gotta fight 12 niggas with baseball caps. When you saw me, I had like 15 niggas with baseball caps. That's what he was referring to. You know, and it's like, yo, my niggas, they don't want to hurt you, Kanye, but they mad too. You know what I'm saying? Like, they thought it was disrespectful too. But when I heard it, when I saw it, the first thing was, I was hurt. And I wasn't hurt by the baseball cap thing, that was funny. I wasn't hurt by he said that Talib Kweli tries to get me to read. And
During Nori's podcast.
yeah, he said
Okay.
he tries to get me to read because he would say some stupid shit like slavery is a choice, and I would send him a link as to why that was dumb, which is what he was referring to. And he said Talib Kweli could read himself to death. I didn't take offense to that because you're insulting me because I like to read. That's not really a diss.
Yeah.
But when you said I never liked his Talib Kweli's rap style, I took that personal. And when he said I was posing as a backpacker, I took that personal. Because I am essentially the face of the backpack community. When you think of backpack rap, I'm the face you think of. So when this man within a space of 2 minutes says, I never liked Talib Kweli's rhymes, and I was posing as a backpacker, what that told me in that moment was when you were around me at the time of that doc, you were around me being fake. You were around me being a poser. You were around me because you understood that I had access to a community that you needed until you didn't need that community anymore. That backpack community was deciding who was respected lyrically and who wasn't. So you had to get, it's not just me. It's Common, Dead Prez, Most, Words and Punch, you know, everybody who represents that, you dissed all of us. And so yeah, I felt the way about that, but I took it personally for 5 minutes and I was like, okay, well, how do I need to respond to this? And I'm like, I just need to have fun with it, but I can't be petty. So, because pettiness is not a virtue. So I've made fun of Kanye online behind this on my Instagram, but it's always in reference to his lyrics. Every single time I make fun of Kanye, I'm making fun of his lyrics. Because you're not gonna say that you don't like my rap style and you got them trash ass bars and ghostwriters. Period. And I'm saying that and Kanye, what the fuck the part is.
Real?
This is real.
No, it's
baby.
not real. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Everything is real.
Everything is real over here.
Real shit.
Real shit.
Kanye West is an incredible lyricist. Kanye West has written some of the best rap bars of all time. Kanye West ghostwriters, in addition to what he's written on his own, Kanye West ghostwriters have given him some of the best rap bars of all time. Let's not get it fucked up. I'm honest. But you can't diss my lyrics and you talking about poopity scoop. And you talking about, you know what I'm saying? You can't diss my lyrics. You talking about bleach assholes. And then after you say you don't like my lyrics, the next 3 verses you got out, you trying to battle rap your own kids. You talking about you gonna get the goon to Pete Davidson. You not even having good like double entendres or flips or rock. There's nothing good about these rhymes that he has on these songs. Everything he's put out since he said, it's like God is cursing him. Ever since you said you don't like my rhyme style, every rhyme you drop has been trash. And this is coming from someone who has given us incredible verses. How is everything so trash now? It's trash because you're not coming from a place of love. It's trash because you're not coming from a place of godliness, which you claim to be when you hang out with fucking Joel Osteen and all that shit. You're coming from a place of hate and jealousy. You can't rhyme about wanting to beat Pete Davidson up and have it be a dope rhyme. It's not gonna happen. There's no way to make that a dope rhyme.
It's not gangster.
It's not gangster. It's not dope. It's not what a man does.
Yeah.
There's no way to make a rhyme about my kids is bougie and spoiled. Nigga, you a father. That's your fault, nigga.
Nigga, you spoiled. And you bougie.
And you wasn't raised that way. So this is your fault.
I'm sorry, I had to.
But again, I want to be careful here
I
because I don't want to be gossiping about the man.
Yeah.
I don't want to be talking about his kids because that's what the gossip blocks do. I'm talking about the lyrics. The only reason I'm talking about what you said about your kids is because you said them in a rap song. The only reason I'm talking about what you said about Pete Davis is because you said it in a rap song. If it was an interview, I'm not speaking on any of that. I'm speaking on them bars because you came after my bars. Your bars is fair game.
One thing that I did notice during the documentary is how much his relationship with his mom impacted him, and I think that's something that he's missing in his life because she really humbled him, and there were parts of it that made me want to cry and say, "Damn!"
I shed a tear because
know,
I knew Don the West.
He
beautiful.
really needs.
My
her
mother,
in his
listen,
life.
my mother knew Don the West. They were friends. My mother, Dr. Brenda Green, she's an incredible woman. Such a great mother. Such a great mother. There's no way my mother could spit back one of my old
She
verses.
spitted his bars.
There's no way, bro.
They're sitting at the
And
table.
that gave me an insight that I hadn't seen. Like, oh, this is beyond support. This is like, I'm your number one fan.
Man, facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like that talk that she gave him about
Being humble.
but being
The one
humble,
about the giant?
but also that talk, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
What she was saying was she was setting him up for fame. She was telling him that, man, it's so beautiful. Like she saw his fame even more than he saw it.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
But what
'cause
she said in the documentary was a giant doesn't see a giant. You don't see
Yeah, man, it was
how
so-
big you are, but
oh my
everybody
God.
else sees that. But you have to make sure that you humble yourself.
Yeah.
You got to stay grounded. Even though you see this giant, stay humble and stay grounded because you know who you are at your core.
Yeah. No, that shit was beautiful.
It really was.
But I gotta keep it 100. There's a moment I felt like she paused because he was like, "You think I'm arrogant?" And I think she could have had a different answer because for the love of her son, she was like, "You're perfect."
Well, that's her son. He is perfect. I know people who have crackheads with moms who abandon them, and they be like, "I love my mom. She's perfect." It's like, that's what it is. And but she didn't say, "Yes, you're arrogant." She just went a different way, and she just gave him what he needed to hear in a loving way. I think.
Especially it was right after this whole little traumatic situation, right? With no ID, right?
And Doug Infinite, right? Like, yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy because, you know, being a fan of Chicago, I didn't know about that intricacy of that, but I know Doug Infinite, and I know Kanye, and I know that whole scene. I know what Doug Infinite has given to the culture. I know what he did on that Common album, and for Kanye, the way Kanye approached that situation was gangster. Like, shout out to Doug, shout out to No ID, shout out to everybody involved, but the way that Kanye held his ground at that stage in his life was dope. And my favorite part about that, because it looked from the outside looking in like it was some street shit, and it was like, nah, we make music, bro. Like, we know each other. This is not.
Yeah.
I still gotta stand up for myself.
He pulled up on him because they did the
Pulled up
interview at
on
the
him.
radio station.
I'm gonna pull up on you.
Yes,
But
right.
it's not no gangster
I love
shit.
the pull up.
It's just accountability.
I love the pull up.
Nah, yeah.
Pull-ups
Right.
need to happen more often in a non-violent, intellectual way. The way that they handle it.
But what the context there is, Doug Infinite and Kanye, even though they had that issue, they really did love each other.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, with the black community, like we should be pulling up on each other, but we have to establish a baseline of love first, and we have to understand that we're in this to come to a solution.
Yes, right.
Because if one person is not there for that, then the pull-up becomes a death.
Yes.
If one person's like, "Fuck all that," nah, man, I'm just trying to.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Now, I want to move forward and talk about the magical experience that I had in LA when I went out to go do his podcast, People's Party. Thank you so much for having me. But then his next guest.
You're a wonderful guest.
Thank you. And his next guest.
A
after
favorite
that-
of the show.
I was.
A favorite, yes. A favorite.
Okay, I gotta see this.
Yeah, you did.
Killed it.
I did.
I know.
And so then Masego, who, I'm media coaching now, which is a new thing that I'm adding to my resume. Big ups to Deanna Williams for giving me the opportunity. But he was my first client, and he was his next guest, and I had never met him. So then that night, we show up at this. I'm literally about to get on the red eye. He's like, "Yo, Masego, can you tell the story, please?"
Masego is an amazing artist. I discovered him. He was on stage with Ari Lennox. I went to an Ari Lennox show about 5-6 years ago. And he came on stage and played saxophone. I thought he was dope, and I started like looking at his little social media, not his social media, but his streaming, seeing him on Spotify, whatever. And anytime I heard a Masego song, I was introduced to another artist that was dope. So I was like, okay, this is an artist that's in the mix of a bunch of dope artists that are young, that are doing a bunch of fly shit that I need to be tapped into.
Yeah.
I did my shout out to my man Paul Smith, a friend of mine in Austin, Texas, a real estate guy. He's a real estate guy in Austin who loves the type of music we do. So for his birthday party, he had me and Masego. And that's how I met Masego. And just his personality was so inviting and funny and warm that I ended up asking Paul, I was like, give me that kid's number. Because I was like, at some point, I want to make music with him and maybe have him on a podcast. And so we had an extra day. That's how Ken got on the podcast. We had shout out to Hit Boy. We had Hit Boy coming in. So we had the cameras, everything set up. So I was like, I need to get a couple more people. Hit Masego. He was like, yeah, I'll come. Hit K. K was like, I'll come.
You showing up?
Yeah. I told Masego about how much I loved his music, and he invited me to a studio session. The way he framed it, he was like, it's a jam session. We're gonna be recording though, and this is a bunch of musicians that I really fuck with. You should come. And me and Kay went. And the way in which he recorded, I've recorded like that before, but it's not my norm. But now I feel like I want to make it my norm. Because what he did was he had a bunch of musicians in the room, virtuosos, masters at their craft, and someone would come with one idea, and everybody would vamp on that. And once they get a groove, and there's mics laying around. So anyone can pick up a mic. You got a rhyme, lay your rhyme. You got a hook, you got a song idea.
Yeah, it was so dope.
We're just in there vibing, and then you do that for a few minutes for, maybe each thing was like a half hour, 45 minutes of each beat. Then once we exhaust that, move on to the next one. And so I'm in there, I'm the OG at this point. That's not how I've been recording. I've been recording like, give me the beat, I write my verse, I go in the studio, record it, I tell the engineer, let me listen back, let me make some changes, and that's not, it was more of a vibe. And there was one song where I was like, I found myself writing a verse, and I found myself completing a verse. And I didn't even, they just kind of noticed, yo, you want, like as I'm coming to the completion of the verse, they're just shoving a mic in my face. Like, you want to lay that? And so I laid the verse. Like I laid it a couple times until I nailed it. But then I was like, yo, I told the engineer, yo, can you play that back? But I could see the screen and I could see everybody's faces looking like uncomfortable when I said that. And it hit me. We just vibing.
Yeah, we vibing.
This is not the Talib Kweli session. I could play it back later. Instead of asking the engineer to play it back, maybe I should just write it in the verse. Maybe I should just continue with the vibe.
Yeah.
And so immediately, I was like, because that's how I'm used to recording.
Yeah.
Let me hear the verse I just recorded.
Yeah.
I said, play it back. And there was just a silence. And I was like, no, don't play it back. Don't play it back. Let's just keep vibing. I'll think of something else. And it was like, I wasn't in the room, but I could feel the relief in the room. And I realized, I was like, okay, let me adapt. Let me change my expectation, or let me change how I think a session should go, and do what this kid is doing, because obviously what he's doing is working. And it freed up my mind in a really amazing way. Shout out to Masego.
So what's happening with the project?
I don't know. He sent me the whole session.
Okay.
That was just about 2 days ago, so maybe after I DJ tonight, I'm gonna go listen to it. And I'm gonna take notes. And I know I did some fly shit.
Oh. No, I was so mad I had to leave. I was like, damn, I gotta go, because this shit was sounding so crazy. Everyone was like, do-do-do-do. And I was even like adding my little, I didn't know there was mics around the freaking room.
There's mics in the whole room, yeah.
I started freestyling too.
It's probably, I probably hear, it's probably on the tape.
I was like, I was like doing all types of shit.
Right, but it's like at one point he played like a rhythm that sounded like African.
Yeah.
And there's this song on the Jungle Brothers album done by the Force of Nature, which sounds African, and they start off the song by going, ah. And so I did that, and then he said, I like that, and he started singing a riff on that. It was like that type of shit.
Yeah, it was super dope. Black Star album.
Yeah, the new Black Star album will be out this year. Produced entirely by Madlib. I'm very excited about it. We haven't made the official announcement on how it's going to come out, but it's solidified. It's going to be out this year.
Okay. Yes.
I'm excited.
I want to thank you for sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, your jewels, getting some stuff off your chest.
Oh yeah.
We need leaders.
I appreciate y'all because I've been
Yeah.
interviewing people for 3 years. I don't do as many interviews about me, and this was nice.
Yeah, it was nice. Thank you for coming through. But right now, like you said, you're DJ now, so we got a DJ gig to get to.
Yeah, we rocking that soul out.
Yeah.
Yo, but before we even go to that, I just want to thank you, man. Like you've been celebrating really special moments for me. For
Your
a
birthday
long
parties.
time. Yeah.
So yeah, let me thank.
Wait,
both
whose
of you.
birthday parties?
My birthday party.
And my birthday party too.
Yeah, we did one.
Like just so you know, like y'all are really a part of my story and part of my Miami experience. And it's like when I first started coming to Miami early in my career, the first 2 people I met were K.Foxx and Max Pierre.
That's crazy.
And I met
Now
both
look,
of
isn't
y'all
that crazy?
at the same
Crazy.
place. I met both of y'all at Opium. And
Opium was so much
like,
fun.
You were running the making sure everybody was good at Opium. She was running with Khaled and that crew at that time. And so y'all became my crew in Miami. And then when that sort of vibe ended or shifted, we all remained friends. And I love y'all so much.
I love you,
Aw,
my brother.
we love you. Thank you.
Am I the first person you met when you were interviewing for?
Yes. Yeah. Because I was going out and I was like, what's, you know, when you first come, I was like coming
This
to
is how
Miami,
this
like,
shit
oh
is
my God,
crazy.
I'm in Miami, I gotta get a job here. I was going out to Opium, everything. And then I don't know what you said. Did we meet at Opium?
No, we met at like Crowbar or something.
Crowbar, oh my God.
Like, and she was like, yeah, I'm here for an interview. And I was like, yo, good luck. I hope you get the job.
At 99 Jams, big ups to Said Hollywood, Derek Baker, big ups to Lorenzo Ice-T Thomas, that whole crew. I mean, yeah. And now look.
Here we are.
Here we are. Thank you for
Real
coming
people.
through. Real shit.
shit.
Real
Real
shit. I
friends.
need another real friends.
Facts. Thank you, my brother.
Cheers.
Cheers.